as we follow a trial in New Mexico. The trial against Jeannine Jaramillo. She's accused of faking a kidnapping and killing 2 people in a wrong-way crash on a highway. Her sentencing is set for tomorrow. So we're getting you caught up on this case. First, let's take a look back at the backdrop of the case against Jeannine. Jeannine Jaramillo is on trial for first-degree murder. The 49-year-old is accused of killing a police officer and a retired firefighter in a high-speed chase crash. This after shouting at bystanders that she was being kidnapped by a man with a knife. It happened in March of 2022 on I-25 near Santa Fe, New Mexico. The incident started with a 911 call from a third party who reported a woman shouting from a Chevy Malibu to call police because a man with a knife was in her car.
He threatened me with a gun and a knife.
The car, which was stolen, then took off, reaching speeds of 90 miles an hour, at one point traveling the wrong way on Interstate 25. A truck that avoided hitting the Malibu hit a patrol car head-on, killing both drivers.
Well, I was with the driver and he basically kidnapped me because he did not want to bring me home. And I broke my arm during the accident. I was in the vehicle and I got transported to a hospital. I'm in shock still. I'm just so scared that I'm gonna see him. I'm gonna run into him again because, you know, he's very dangerous. I did not realize that, but he is a very dangerous person, and I hope they catch him.
Police would later determine no man had been in Jaramillo's car. Her charges include 2 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated fleeing, reckless driving, and making a false report. And this isn't the first time Jaramillo has been caught in a stolen vehicle or blaming an unknown man for kidnapping her. Just 5 months after this incident, Jaramillo pleaded guilty to unlawfully taking a vehicle and aggravated fleeing from police. She was sentenced to 18 months in prison in that case and ordered to attend substance abuse counseling and treatment. All right, now that you're caught up on the details, let's get you into testimony of this murder trial in New Mexico against Jeannine Jaramillo. We have on the stand Sergeant Cruzita Romero with the New Mexico State Police.
I was tasked with locating a person by the name of Mark Lopez.
And who was Mark Lopez?
I was informed that Mark Lopez may have been involved in the kidnapping of Jeannine Jaramillo.
And what information did you receive about Mark Lopez?
The only information I received was from Sergeant Jesse Whitaker, letting the agents under his supervision know that he received information that Mark Lopez was involved in the kidnapping, and we were tasked with interviewing Mark Lopez and locating and interviewing him.
Your job was to go find him, right?
Yes.
What information did you have to go on at that point about Mark Lopez to find him?
If I recall correctly, the information we had was a picture of his driver's license on NCIC, which is the National Criminal Justice System. We had information that his cell phone was currently being pinged at a street in between Velarde and Alcalde at a Nolan Drive.
And Judge, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm going to show you, Agent, what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 27 and ask you if you know what this is.
Yes, sir. It is a Be on the Lookout poster for Mark Lopez.
And does it have a photograph on there?
It does.
And were you in possession of that photograph when you went looking for him?
Yes.
Thank you. Without objection, Judge, we've asked that the State's Exhibit 27 be admitted into evidence.
Noted.
Case 27 is admitted. You may close.
Thank you, Judge. May I continue, Judge?
Yes.
So this picture right here, this is the one that you had in your possession when you started your hunt for Mark Lopez, correct?
Yes, sir.
Where did you learn, how did you find out where he was?
After going to Nolan Drive where the cell phone was pinging, we asked all the residents on that street if they knew of a Mark Lopez. Then we decided, they said no, so then we decided to go to the address. I'm not sure, I don't recall if the address was on his driver's license or how we obtained that, but we ended up going to his place of residence.
So you had some address that you thought was Mark Lopez.
Yes.
And did you go to that address?
We did. What
happened next?
Initially, we saw a Ring camera on the door. We went to the front door, we knocked. The person on the other end of the Ring camera, which was a male's voice, identified himself as Mark Lopez. He said he and his wife were headed home and would be back in 5 to 10 minutes to talk with us.
And what did you do next?
We just waited, and when they arrived, we briefly spoke to them outside of their yard, and then we separated both he and his wife so they could be interviewed separately.
Did you, in fact, interview Mark Lopez?
I did.
Did you confirm that the person you were talking to was Mark Lopez?
Yes.
And tell me about the interview.
So during the interview, this Mark Lopez was shocked that we were there. We asked if he knew Jeannine Jaramillo. He said he did not. We asked where his whereabouts were. He mentioned that he worked just down the road. He had left for work at about 7 a.m., returned home at about 12 p.m., until about 12:30-ish, and then he left back to work, and then he arrived back at home around 4 p.m.-ish. He said that if we would check his Ring camera, that would prove that he was at work or came home at that time, and he also provided us with his supervisor's phone number, as well as, I believe it was like 4 other co-workers who would be able to talk to us and let us know that he was in fact there all day.
Was his wife with him?
At the time of the interview, yes.
Did you interview his wife?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that interview?
I interviewed her inside of her residence, and she also did not know who Jeannine Jaramillo was. She offered to allow me to view her surveillance, and it did confirm that this Mark Lopez was home when he said he was home, and he would leave when he said he left.
Tell me about the surveillance you reviewed. How did you do that?
If I recall correctly, it was through her phone.
And what did you view?
The actual Ring camera at their door.
And did that have timestamps on it? How did you verify it was what you were looking at?
Timestamps. So typically when I look at any surveillance camera, I take the time on my cell phone and I match it to the surveillance footage that I'm looking at, and the time was accurate on their Ring camera system.
Besides the surveillance footage and the 2 interviews that you conducted, did you find any other evidence to rule out this Mark Lopez?
We did interview, I didn't specifically interview the boss, but we did confirm with the boss, and we learned that he was at lunch when he wasn't at home.
So he was at work all day,
yes.
Correct? And he was nowhere near Santa Fe on March 2nd?
Correct.
Judge, may I approach the witness with one last exhibit?
Yeah. This has been marked State's Exhibit 28. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, that is Mark Lopez, his wife, and Sergeant Whitaker.
Judge, we ask that State's Exhibit be admitted into evidence and published at this time.
28?
28.
No, Judge.
State's 28 is admitted into evidence.
So these are the 2 individuals that pulled up when you were waiting for them, correct?
Yes.
And the man on the left is Mr. Mark Lopez.
Yes.
And the woman on the right is his wife. And after interviewing both of them, you ruled him out as a suspect in this incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how positive were you of that?
100%.
Now, after you ruled out this Mark Lopez, you continued on March 3rd to investigate, correct?
On March what?
March 3rd, the next day?
Oh, yes, yes.
What did you do that day?
So on that day, I was tasked by Agent Harwell to go and try and locate some surveillance around the areas of, I believe it was St. Francis and Sawmill Road and Zia intersection around there here in Santa Fe.
Did you go to the gas stations around there?
We did. If I recall correctly, we went to the Maverick, Speedway, and the Giant. We also checked the railroad camera system, but that wasn't, it was a live feed, not recorded.
Well, let's start with Maverick gas station. Did you find any surveillance video at that gas station?
So I would have to look at my report to determine which surveillance, which stores had actual surveillance that we were able to get, because some of the stores, there was no supervisors, and there wasn't anybody who knew how to operate the camera system, so we weren't able to get anything.
If I showed you your report real quick, would that refresh your memory?
Yes.
May I approach, Judge?
Yeah.
So the Maverick gas station that you went to, were you able to find any video at that station?
So the Maverick gas station, the staff member at the gas station wasn't able, we were getting an error when we were trying to upload the video. So I personally did not obtain any video footage from that location that day.
And what about the Giant gas station?
At the Giant gas station, that was the same thing.
She needs to just refresh her memory, and then I'll tell you.
The staff member wasn't able to operate it, so we had to get a hold of the district manager. I didn't specifically do that, so I didn't obtain any footage from that area either.
And then again, the Rail Runner train station was only a live feed, correct?
Yes.
And there was no video to obtain.
Correct.
And then were there any other businesses around the Vizcaya apartments that you checked?
Yes, so I believe it was after we left the gas stations that we went over to the Vizcaya apartments. We did recognize that there were some video cameras that looked like video cameras on the north buildings, just north of the apartments. So that information was provided to Agent Harlock.
Would that building have been the Santa Fe Suites?
I couldn't say what building it was.
And did that conclude your investigation into Mark Lopez at that point?
On March the 3rd, yes.
Did you ever find Mark Lopez?
The only Mark Lopez that I found was this Mark Lopez.
And he was ruled out?
He was ruled out.
Sergeant Romero laying out the prosecution's case for how they determined this kidnapping was fake. We have more testimony in the fake kidnapping murder trial. After this break, we're going to hear from a police sergeant who investigated the case. Stay with us.
Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down. Police have arrested Luigi Mangione.
Court TV and Scripps News take you inside the investigation that's captured the nation's attention.
We do not kill people in cold blood.
The motive.
One line reads, "These parasites had it coming."
The manhunt.
It feels good to get a guy like that off the street.
And what's next for the accused assassin?
Assassination of a CEO. A Court TV and Scripps News special report. Tonight at 7 on Court TV.
Like lighting a fuse and escaping seconds before the bomb explodes, Jeannine Jaramillo set fatal wheels in motion and accelerated towards a path of inevitable destruction.
Criminally crying wolf. This hour, we are bringing you the murder trial against Jeannine Jaramillo. Sentencing is set for Thursday, so we're getting you caught up on all of the details, all of the key testimony from this trial that happened in New Mexico. In 2022 is when prosecutors say that the defendant led police on a chase, reaching speeds of over 90 miles an hour while traveling in the wrong direction, and it ended in a deadly collision. And the whole thing started because she falsely claimed that she was being kidnapped by a man with a knife. Let's get you back into the courtroom now. On the stand, Sergeant Wyatt Harwell with the New Mexico State Police.
So we responded to the multiple scenes of the crash. The interstate was a mess, full of traffic. There was a bunch of first responders, as well as auxiliary responders, TAC team, that sort of thing there. So I surveyed both the crash scene where the Malibu was located and then the site of the fatal crash as well.
How long do you believe you were on scene surveying?
Approximately an hour and a half.
If you could, in 1 to 2 words, describe the scope of the scene when you got there.
Massive.
What contributed to this massive scene?
Some contributing factors were the several vehicles involved in multiple crashes, separated by a short distance on the highway, as well as the belief that there was still a subject outstanding that was possibly armed. That creates a lot of response. And so the potential that there was an armed suspect still on the loose created this scene to be really massive.
And with state police, did state police dispatch or deploy units and officers from around the state?
Yes, ma'am.
What were some of those units or divisions?
Some of those divisions, the aircraft unit or helicopter team came out. I believe they were in training that day, and they left training to come up and help. Tactical team members responded from all over the state to help in the active manhunt. There were also specialty teams such as the drone team to collect photograph evidence. And then there was also the crash reconstruction team, because this case involved a fatal accident or crash. The crash reconstruction team comes up. They're highly trained in investigating traffic crashes.
We know that the crashes occurred on I-25. Were there nearby businesses or schools?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, as in a massive scene like this, were businesses notified of the active manhunt?
Yes, as well as the school. The interstate was shut down in both directions, which has a massive impact as well.
And you had mentioned that you had gone to the scene of the crash. What county was this crash site in?
Both crashes were within Santa Fe County.
Based on surveying the scene, you indicated that you stayed there for about an hour. What information did you glean from that survey?
I learned that there was 2 people that lost their life as a result of this pursuit. I learned that the white Malibu that I first encountered coming onto the scene was involved in fleeing from law enforcement officers. I learned that Santa Fe police officers were involved in the pursuit with the white Malibu. I learned that there was a female that crawled out of the white Malibu once it stopped. She was identified as Jeannine Jaramillo, and when I arrived, I learned that she was at the hospital here in Santa Fe.
In terms of priorities as it pertains to you at that moment of time, when you got on scene, what was your highest priority?
My highest priority was to find work. There was several officers engaged in the manhunt, open field search, neighborhood canvassing, closing of roads, contacting drivers. So my position was to find work, and as an investigative bureau agent, I started looking for evidence of what had happened. I reviewed some dash camera video of Santa Fe PD vehicles that were still parked on the scene.
Do you remember whose dash camera it was that you reviewed?
His name was Joshua Ramirez.
Did you also review the dash cam maybe later in time of Officer Julian Norris?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Was Officer Norris's unit still left on scene where he had left it?
Yes.
We're hitting the pause button on testimony and bringing in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Franz Borghardt, who is still with us. Franz, thank you for weighing in with your analysis on these cases. I'm shocked that Jeannine Jaramillo was able to get back home, to go on with her life in the time period after this crazy collision. I mean, this was a deadly collision. You would think that she would be still at the police station being questioned about where this kidnapper, presumed kidnapper, was. Your thoughts on what we know so far about this case?
So I think to a certain degree, they gave her the benefit of the doubt until they realized her pants were on fire. And once that happened, once it was discovered that she was crying wolf, then everything changed. But, you know, to a certain degree, we want those people, those true victims, those true people who have crimes perpetrated against them, we want them to have the benefit of the doubt. We want police to believe them. And look, frankly, all she's doing is making it harder for law enforcement to treat real victims with a certain level of love and compassion and belief, because you know, these human beings exist out there. These people that make up these horribly deceitful lies in an effort to skirt and get away with crime. So, you know, yes, it is baffling that she was able to do all this, but to some degree, we want law enforcement to give real victims the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely, absolutely. And who knows if we will get more from Jeannine Jaramillo at sentencing. Anything about why? What was her motivation to do something so reckless and so deadly? Franz, stand by. We are going to get to our break, but next we're going to hear more from Sergeant Harwell. He's going to tell the jury how Jaramillo convinced him she was being kidnapped.
Okay, so what happened?
Okay, my boyfriend kept me here.
Where's here?
Grant.
Uh-huh.
Grant. And for like 2 days, he didn't let me go. I don't know what the hell. He didn't give me no water. He didn't give me nothing. That's why when I came to this man's house here, I asked him for a water. I was so I'm so dehydrated, sir. He just like kidnapped me and didn't let me do anything.
192-108, where did you just come?
And I was trying to get away from him.
What you're hearing there is Jeannine Jaramillo talking to police back in 2021 about another incident than the one that we're watching the trial for. She's there looking distraught, overwhelmed. Turns out that was all a lie too, lying to police then and now about a fake kidnapping. So we're getting you caught up on key witness testimony from the current trial that she has been facing in New Mexico. Prosecutors say that Jaramillo led police on a chase that reached speeds of over 90 miles an hour while traveling on the wrong direction. Police chasing this car because they believed she was inside being kidnapped, but no man was ever found. Let's get you back into court. We're listening to testimony from Sergeant Wyatt Harwell.
Point did you first hear the name Mark Lopez?
It was relatively soon after arriving on scene. Identifying a suspect is crucial. It's very important for us to figure out who we need to talk to. So that was probably within the first 30 minutes of being there. I heard the name Mark Lopez.
And when you heard the name Mark Lopez, were you also given a description of possibly what he looked like or what he was wearing?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that description that you were giving in terms of his clothing?
A black jacket, dark jeans, and a black beanie.
What about the color of his shirt?
I don't recall.
Were there, as you're surveying the scene, was there active Was state police also actively engaged in trying to find this Mark Lopez?
Yes, ma'am.
And Officer Harwell, I'm going to backtrack for just one moment, and I had asked you for a description of what Mark Lopez was wearing, and you did not remember the color of his shirt.
Yes, ma'am.
May I refresh your recollection?
Please.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Yes. I'm going to ask that you read this quietly to yourself and look up when you're done. Sergeant Harwell, does that refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am.
What color of shirt was Mark Lopez wearing?
Red shirt.
At least in terms of the information that you received.
Correct.
As part of your survey, did you go to the, well, let me ask this. Did you start at where the white Chevy Malibu had come to arrest?
Yes, ma'am. So when I responded to the scene, I was coming from the interior of Santa Fe, so I got on northbound I-25, which was closed, and the first vehicle I encountered in this massive scene was the white Malibu.
Where did you go after surveying, looking at the white Chevy Malibu?
I continued north on I-25 and briefly surveyed the Benito Salas's truck, which appeared to have collided with the white Malibu.
Do you remember the color of Mr. Salas's truck?
It was white.
Anything of note that you saw in your initial survey of Mr. Salas's white GMC truck?
Just that it appeared to have been involved with a crash, correlating marks both on the Malibu and the white pickup. I believe they were both involved in a collision together, airbags deployed, tire and axle missing from the driver's front on the white pickup.
Totaled? Was it totaled? From what you could tell?
Yes.
After looking at Mr. Salas's truck, where did you go next?
I continued north on I-25 until I got to a crime scene barrier, a piece of tape, and several other state police officers and other officers from different agencies, and surveyed the scene of the fatal crash.
What did you see when you got there?
I saw two Santa Fe PD police vehicles that both appeared to have been involved in a crash. I saw a blue Chevy Malibu also appeared to have been in a crash, and a green Dodge pickup that appeared to have been in a crash. Of note, the green Dodge pickup and the one of the Santa Fe police vehicles were almost unrecognizable. Their damage was so severe.
And in those vehicles, did you find two drivers a driver in each vehicle that was deceased?
Yes, ma'am.
While you were on scene, did you have any role in measuring or collecting evidence, or was that solely the responsibility of the reconstruction team when they arrived?
That was the responsibility of the reconstruction team.
Were you present on scene when the reconstruction team arrived?
I was there when Officer Todd Sibley arrived, who was assigned as crash reconstructionist.
In this particular case, do you know who the lead reconstructionist is?
Yes, he's a sergeant now, Davin Barella. Sergeant Barella drives up from the southern part of New Mexico to respond to crashes up here, so his response time was protracted.
Were you present when he arrived on scene?
No, ma'am.
After surveying the scene, Did you leave?
I did.
Where did you go?
I returned to the Investigation Bureau office here in Santa Fe to interview Jeannine Jaramillo.
When you left the scene, do you remember roughly about what time it was?
Approximately 5 p.m.
Was it starting to get dark?
If memory serves, yes.
All right, let's bring back in Franz Borchardt just to talk about what we should be thinking about while we're watching this testimony, Franz. It's a case where we're looking at sentencing tomorrow. We're watching all of this coverage play out in terms of a trial that's already happened. But what do you think is going to impact sentencing in this case?
I think it's the dual nature of the crime, right? People in the criminal justice system break laws, commit crimes all the time, and they are punished accordingly. But the way we view individuals that don't just commit crimes, but also waste criminal resources, waste law enforcement resources, put other people at risk for being investigated or arrested for crimes they didn't commit. There is a definite public interest in providing additional punitive sentencing to those kind of individuals, especially if it's repeat behavior, especially if it's behavior that can't be explained. Now, this is a defendant who has drug issues, who has a history. But I think that what I'm getting at is I think that this may be a defendant that the court makes an example out of to discourage this kind of behavior.
What kind of mitigators, other than what you mentioned with the drug abuse, do you think will play a role or even be able to be used as mitigators in front of a judge?
So generally age, health issues, mental health issues, if she has any, with the drug issues, if she has family. We haven't really, that's not stuff that we're really touching on right now. But, she has to give the court her why. And her why is not an excuse. Her why is not an excuse. That is the mitigator, right? Is why did I do this horrible thing? I would love for her to act contrite and admit guilt and to actually apologize, not just to the court, but to all the law enforcement, to any and all victims. She needs to show remorse.
I was going to ask you that. That was going to be my follow-up question, is if she speaks, because she doesn't have to, but the judge no doubt is going to give her the opportunity to say something. And so often, though, here on Court TV, we've seen quite a few defendants make statements at their sentencing. Often attorneys tell their clients that they don't have to speak and really shouldn't because they don't want to impact an appeal. But it sounds like you think this is a different situation.
I think she's in dire straits enough to where there needs to be a legitimate conversation with her about, yeah, you have the right to remain silent and maybe you shouldn't say anything, but a little bit of contrition, a little bit of true remorse may actually go a long way, and certainly would have more valuable impact to the judge and to the court than her just remaining silent. It's not fair in this instance, but there are a lot of parts of this case. She's put herself in this situation, and she may really want to consider it.
It's such a tragic case. No doubt people are going to be wanting to hear that apology for what she did, not only to these families, but to the community at large. Anyone could have been killed on that highway when she was driving down it. Franz Borchardt, thank you for your analysis. We are going to get to a break and hear more on the other side from Sergeant Harwell describing coming face to face with Jeannine Jaramillo after the search for this fake kidnapper that she mentioned to police. It had been called off.
How we doing, guys? We're good? Okay.
You're on very shaky ground.
That is unreal.
People wanted answers, and people started locking their doors.
I did not do it to hurt anybody.
You know what it means. You know what you did, right?
Please hear me out. Please.
This was a real-life soap opera.
I said, OJ, everybody thinks you're guilty.